3, 2. Hello! Welcome to Alyssa Jean's Reviews. Hey. Ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey. Ho. Donald Trump has got to go. I just got back from the protest, the No Kings protest here in Portland a little while ago. There were, I think, 2,000 of them all over the country and all over the world. Maddie says, I hope your No Kings parade was good. If you change your mind and fancy taking that boring old fart King Charles off our hands, I'd appreciate it. Honestly, I will trade you Donald Trump for King Charles any day, because King Charles doesn't have any actual power. He's not actually a king. Like, he doesn't actually, like, he is not arresting people in the streets and sending in the military against his own people. And arresting, I mean, by arresting, I mean disappearing. So sure, I would love that. Can we make that trade right now? We'll trade you Trump for King Charles any day of the week. Anyways, welcome Maddie and Norman and Aaron Lee joining in the chat. As Maddie already knows, if you looked at the thumbnail, it wasn't any kind of trick. It really was. The wine is Cab Sav, and I'm not going to show you the bottle anymore because it's a really boring label. Usually I like to get some fancy label or pretty label for this, but I didn't go wine shopping in advance enough, and I just had a couple bottles here, and neither of them were like that interesting looking. So it's just like, well, and the other one was some generic red, and like that's kind of boring. So I was like, I'll go with the Cab Sav, even though it has a boring label on it. I don't drink like any fancy wine. I'm not like a connoisseur or anything. I just drink cheap ass wine that you get at a grocery outlet. So it's not anything fancy. Norman said, if I had some, I want a good Pinot. We'll drink 0 sugar Dr. Pepper instead. I know how. Gush? I don't know that word. Norman, yes, no kings, no orange, no fascism. Yeah, it always makes me feel good in the moment, at least, to see all of those people out there. Hopefully this will have some kind of effect. I mean, as I said, there's 2,000 protests all across the world in the country. So I didn't have time to make any signs, but my friend that I went with made some signs. This is a sign that I had. No human is illegal. Not, anything clever or anything, but straight to the point. I think that as I was there, I thought of the sign that I'm going to do next time, because there will be more. So next time I want to make a sign that says resistance is not futile. And maybe I'll even put a picture of 7 of 9 on it, or maybe a picture of a board cube with a circle and a line through it or something like that. I didn't think of that until I was there. It was last night. I just couldn't think of any. I was just not in the mood for making signs. So my friend made some and gave me one of hers. But that's going to be my sign next time. Resistance is not futile. There were a couple of Star Wars Andor reference signs of that. I think that if you didn't watch Andor, you wouldn't know what they meant. And like one of them in particular. So one of them I saw was, I have friends everywhere. I saw that sign. I was like, but if you don't watch Andor and you see a sign that says, I have friends everywhere at a protest, you're like, so what does that mean? Like, you have are you saying all the protesters are your friends? I don't get it. But if you watch Andor and you see that sign, you're like, the other one I saw, the reference Andor, actually really referencing Rogue One, but Andor also said this, was that the rebellions are built on hope. That's another one that seems slightly weird, because is this a rebellion at this stage? I mean, you can call it that, but I think it would seem slightly weird if you didn't know. Like, that's a Star Wars reference. Specifically, Rogue One and Andor use that line: "Rebellions are built on hope." So that was a cool sign too. I didn't get pictures of either of them because I didn't have a good shot at them. And of course, there's a classic Star Wars reference that I've also seen as a meme, and it's a T-shirt. There's the one that says "A woman's place is in the Resistance" and has a picture of classic New Hope era Princess Leia on it. I saw a couple of signs that took that meme and put it on. So a more well-known Star Wars reference that anybody could get. Whereas I have friends everywhere. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut. Let's see. I'm just about to start Andor season 2. I hope it's good. Yes, I'm late to the game. I really liked it. I think it starts off slow personally, but for me, episodes 8 and 9, that's where it's all at. Those are really powerful episodes, and they're very timely episodes too, because they're about fascism and also propaganda. What's going on in LA actually shockingly similar to episode 8 of Andor. Let's see. Norman says, "About to retire from where I work, but at our community college, we are given our trans, non-binary, and undocumented students promotional material of their rights, and we called it We Belong." Love that. Cheers. Oh, yeah, it could be mistaken for a Pat Benatar fan club. I actually didn't think about that. But yes, I suppose you're right. Trump will see it as a rebellion. I don't give a fuck what Trump sees it as. Norman, I had the Leia as a big pin. That Leia as a big pin I wore at rallies during the first Orange term. Okay. Let's see. So, I wanted to talk Strange New Worlds, but before I do that, I gotta say Happy Pride, everyone. It is Pride Month. Usually I do some sort of special video for Pride. I'm really not this month, so Happy Pride. Cheers. I'm gonna miss the actual Pride parade in Portland because they like to do it in July, and I'm not gonna be in town the weekend that they're doing it in July this year. So this is kind of double this my Pride. I took my trans flag and was waving at it too. Are you all ready to talk about some Strange New Worlds here? I think we got all the Star Trek, not all, but all the people who I see in there are the Star Trek guys. So big announcement about Strange New Worlds this week. Is renewed for a 5th season, but the 5th season will be the final season, and it's only going to have 6 episodes. I mean, every video that I watch on this is like negative and just like, I can't believe they're doing that. What? I think the only area where I find disappointment is that it's 6 episodes. The fact that they're going to 5 seasons, I mean, that's not. Why are you shocked by that? That's 5. Season 5 is the new season 7 in the Alex Kurtzman era. I have been expecting all this time that Stranger Worlds would only go 5 seasons. I am a little disappointed that they're only doing 6 episodes in the final season. But here's where I have some optimism and positivity, where all these other videos don't, where they're just like, "Oh, well, this sucks. I'm really disappointed in this." Yeah, but this is the first modern track show other than Picard. We can put Picard aside because Picard kind of sucked. But when you count when you look at Discovery, which went 5 seasons, Lower Decks, which went 5 seasons, Strange New Worlds is going 5 seasons, and it is the first of those 3. And also, you can throw Prodigy in there because I don't think Prodigy is coming back. Strange New Worlds is the first one where they actually have time to plan out their finale. They don't have to like throw together some last minute editing and tackle in this scene at the end to make it a finale, or edit some things, like a little bit of things here and there, like Lower Decks did, to try to make it a finale to wrap up the series. No, they have plenty of time to plan it out. This is a good thing. Why are people upset about this? They were always only going to go 5 seasons. I mean, why? One of my favorite YouTubers, Sci Fanatics, this Australian guy, I can't never remember his actual name. He says it in all of his videos, but I always think of him, that Australian guy on Sci Fanatics. He was like, I'm not going to try to do his accent. Never mind. He said, I'll do a terrible job. He said that he always thought it would go 7 seasons, like you could get 7 seasons out of it. Well, that's your own problem. I always thought it would go 5 seasons because that's what they're doing with all the modern Trek shows. So you're setting yourself up for false expectations. Like, they were never going to go 7 seasons. It never even occurred to me that they would go 7 seasons after both Discovery and Lower Decks went 5. So I always thought it would go 5. I'm happy that they've announced it now so that they have time to plan a proper finale. This is great news, everybody. I think it's great. And 6 episodes sucks, but if you look at it this way, we still have 26 episodes left to watch of Strange New Worlds, which is more than what we've gotten so far. So, not even halfway through the series yet. Come on, people. And it does look like we will be getting them every year. Season 4 is in production now. Season 5 actually set to start production before the end of this calendar year. So we're probably looking at season 4 in 2026 and season 5 in 2027, assuming that the world isn't a nuclear Armageddon at that point. But we'll think about that. We'll talk about that. But yeah, we're talking about we still have 3 more years worth of Strange New Worlds, 26 more episodes. Nothing to be bummed about. They have time to plan a proper finale. This is great news. All right, let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. Oh, nice. Oh, no. Yes, 5 seasons, but only 6 freaking episodes. I hadn't heard the 6 episodes part. Yeah, that is the thing that I'm disappointed in this. That is true. But again, I'm looking at it with rose-colored glasses. We still have 26 episodes, 3 years left, and they have time to plan out the finale. Would I prefer if they did 10 in the final year? Sure, I would, but it is what it is. Strange New Worlds ending makes me sad, but then I was also sad about Disco and Lower Decks ending after 5. But again, we have like a 3-year notice this time. So why are people so sad about something that's happening 3 years from now? Or 2 years from now? 2 years. That should be. It's probably 2027. But 3 more seasons worth of episodes we have. I don't know why I just talked like Yoda. 3 more seasons of episodes we have. Okay. Anyways, on the plus side, less chance of writing in the Ferengi like they did in Enterprise. LOL. Touche. 5 is the new 7. LOL. Aaron Lee says that's true. That's why I don't understand why anyone was expecting it to go 7 seasons. 5 is clearly the new 7. That needs to be a shirt. Only a few people would get that, but yes. I think even Star Trek fans wouldn't get it, because if you had a picture of the Enterprise on it or something to at least cue Star Trek fans that has something to do with Star Trek. But if you just had the words 5 is the new 7, like even if I saw that just randomly in the wild, I'd be like, what does that mean? Lower Decks especially ended prematurely. At least Strange New World showrunners will know for sure it's the last season before production. Exactly my point. Maddie says, yes, I like Disco Season 5 a lot, but the stuff tacked on at the end finale was so obvious and not great. I didn't think it was bad. It was definitely obviously tacked on, but I'm glad that they did it. I think that they needed to do something. So I did like it overall. It did feel tacked on because it was tacked on because they didn't have any freaking time to plan ahead like Strange New Worlds is going to have. Let's see. I mean, in a way, pretty much Prodigy ended without them knowing its ending. The ending episode sort of feels like it was like it, but it wasn't. And LD and Disco had to quickly rewrite endings. Exactly my point that I'm making. Aaron Lee says, I guess we'll still get a good bit of Trek. Maybe it'll be uber popular and they will change their minds. No, I don't think they're changing their mind on Strange New World. We can talk about the future of Star Trek because all we got is Starfleet Academy and some rumblings of some really bad sounding Tawny Newsome comedy. I love Tawny Newsome, but the premise for this comedy they're talking about sounds awful. Or maybe that won't be awful, but maybe not what I'm looking for. If there's only going to be 2 Star Trek shows in existence, maybe I don't want one of them to be a comedy. Like, unless it was Lower Decks, which is also a more traditional Star Trek show on a starship. This is like they're talking about doing like a Risa like resort planet. I don't remember if it was Risa specifically or a planet like that, and doing a comedy about it. And if they're gonna do that, fine. If there's like 5 other Star Trek shows on, I don't want that to be like one of 2 shows that exist, with the other one being Starfleet Academy. That's a sad state of Star Trek. So I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Because you enjoyed talking like Yoda. No, but it was a complete accident. I didn't mean to talk like Yoda. May the Schwartz be with you. I'm going to read down to see if you guys have mentioned yet. Did you know? I mean, you have to. It's all over the internet, like the last couple of days, that their Spaceballs 2 is confirmed, and that a 98-year-old Mel Brooks will be in it. I mean, they better film it quickly. He's 98 years old. And that Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement. Remember, Rick Moranis doesn't act anymore. He retired from acting, but he is coming out of retirement to do Spaceballs 2. Mel Brooks is going to be in it. I also heard that Bill Pullman and his son will be in it. What is his son's name? So Bill Pullman's son was recently in the latest MCU film, The Thunderbolts asterisk. He's a big star of that. I thought it was pretty good. And when I saw him, I was like, I didn't know he's Bill Pullman's son, but I was like, who is this guy? He looks really, really familiar. And then I found out it was Bill Pullman's son. I was like, oh, he looks familiar because he looks a lot like Bill Pullman. That's why. Is it Louis Pullman, I think? Yeah, Louis Pullman. So he's going to be in it, and Bill Pullman's going to be in it, and Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement, and Yogurt, Mel Brooks, apparently. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm usually not a fan of sequels many years later, and like they usually don't live up to the original, but who knows? Maybe they can make it something good. Maybe they'll start making fun of all the other Star Wars content that's come out since the original. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But yes, Spaceballs 2 is happening. Let's see. May the Force be with you. Hardware Worlds reference. I don't know that one. The Force be with you. Yeah, I don't know that one. Greetings. Oh, hello, Will Ferrell, number 1. Aaron Lee says, I hope we get a whole new raft of shows, something for everyone then. Star Trek, I assume you're talking about. Spaceballs 2, you shitting me? Oh my God, Rick Moranis. Are you guys not on the internet? It's like covering my Facebook feed and my Instagram feed. Maybe you guys don't do social media, but like my entire feed was like about Spaceballs 2 over the last couple days. Let's see. I thought it was a joke, but yes, Spaceballs 2 is coming. It'll probably be crap, but yeah, why the hell not? I mean, it's going to be hard for me not to. I'm usually totally against. You guys know I'm totally against these like sequels and reboots and all these things like this nostalgic reboots from the 80s. But this one I gotta at least check out. So gotta hope that it doesn't suck, but I kind of feel like it will. Smoke, what if you got? I can't really make out that emoji. See, Gladiator 2, anyone? I didn't even like Gladiator 1. Also, I just saw the trailer for Naked Gun 2 with Liam Neeson, a teaser trailer, and I have not been a big fan of that, but I have to admit that the trailer was kind of funny. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go see that in the theater, so I'm going to let Mark be my guinea pig and let them tell me what they think of it. All right. Let me drink some wine, and then I want to dive into the episode titles for Strange New Worlds. So, Strange New Worlds Season 3, that is, and kind of speculate on them based on things we saw in the trailer. So if this is too spoilery for you, close your ears and go la 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 la, or just don't watch it. Or if you were watching in the archives, you can fast forward. I don't know when to tell you to fast forward to, because I don't know how long this will go, but might go for a while. I don't know. Personally, I think this is my personal opinion. I think it would be silly for me to think these are spoilers. You don't know shit about shit. You just know the episode titles and you've seen the trailer, and that's why we speculate, and it's fun to speculate. So to me, it's not spoilers at all. All right, I'm going to go through, but if it's spoilers for you, you're warned. All right, I'm going to go through the episode titles of Season 3. Ready? Episode 1 is Homogeny Part 2. Episode 2 is Wedding Bell Blues. Episode 3, Shuttle to Kenfori. Episode 4, A Space Adventure Hour. Episode 5, Through the Lens of Time. Episode 6, The Cellat Who Ate Its Tail. Episode 7, What is Starfleet? Episode 8, 4.5 Vulcans. Episode 9, Terrarium, and Episode 10, New Life and New Civilizations. Okay. So, I'm going to start with the ones that we definitely know what they are, 100%. Hegemony Part 2, obviously. We know what that is. It's the continuation of the season finale of Season 2. We've already seen, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. We've already seen the opening scene. Excuse me. The opening scene of that. I mean, if you maybe you haven't, but it's on the internet. It's kind of continuing. I can't believe that they just showed you the continuation of the cliffhanger, like in a YouTube clip. But it's out there. And also, we know everybody survives because they're in the fucking trailer. So I actually thought there was a chance that Patel could die because she's not a main character, and she's a reoccurring character, not like one of the main cast, and it might be interesting to like kill off Pike's love interest. But no, she's all over the fucking trailer, so we know she's alive and well. She seems to be more in Season 3 than she was in any of the other seasons based on the trailers. So she's everywhere. Leon is like, they're all fine. And I don't know if we saw Sam Kirk, but we know Sam Kirk has to live until that original series episode. What was the one with the what was that one called? With the I don't know, the flying stingrays at the end of Season 1. Anyway, so we know he dies there, so he can't be dead. So everybody's fine. Anyway, so that's one we know for certain. The other one, I can tell you, I know what it is with 100% certainty, is episode 8, 4.5 Vulcans. Clearly, that is the one that we got the sneak peek of last summer. The one where everybody turns into Vulcans and make fun of Spock, and it's the worst fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And I actually am surprised that it is episode 8. I was assuming it would be episode 5 because that is where they like to place their Vulcan comedy episode. The first 2 seasons had the Vulcan comedy episode at episode 5. So I assumed it would be episode 5, but it's going to be episode 8. They're sticking it right at the end of the season, right when I want the season to start getting really good. They're going to put that piece of shit in there. I think there's 0 chance that's going to be a good episode. That looks awful. So that's episode 8. I'm not looking at the comments at all. So let me go and look at what you guys are talking about, and then I'll continue. Let's see. Who would be getting married at this time? I have a theory about that. I'll get to that. Selhots get mad if Vulcan children are late with their dinner. Yeah, so that's, am I pronouncing it right in the house? Salat, or how do you pronounce it? Salat. It's that pet that Spock had in the animated series, right? That's what that is. And we know all the main characters somehow get away from the Gorn ship. Yep. All right, I don't care about Gladiator. I'm sorry, Brandon. I'm going to skip that one. We saw the sneak peek ages ago, the 4.5 Vulcans. Yep, episode 8 is usually M'Benga themed. That's true. So this is unusual. Episode 5 is usually the Vulcan one, and episode 8 is M'Benga, and they're just switching things up this year. Flipping things around, keeping us on our toes this year. Good point, Norman. I hadn't thought of that. All right. So episode 4, A Space Adventure Hour. I heard someone in another video say that is likely the holodeck episode, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Have you seen in the trailer? It looks like they're standing in a holodeck. I don't know how. I don't know if they're going to call that the rec room. Are they going to canonize the rec room from the animated series? I don't know. But it looks like they're standing in a holodeck. And then you see them do this like murder mystery thing. And I think there's other silly things that they do too. Besides the murder mystery one is the one that stands out in my head, but like where they're all in silly costumes and doing silly things. So that I suspect is episode 4, A Space Adventure Hour. I heard someone else say that, and that makes a lot of sense to me. Now the other ones, I'll throw out a couple theories. So we know Roger Corby is coming. That is the guy from what's it called? What are little children made of? The original series episode, or what are little girls made of? I don't remember. The one with yet another one with all the androids, and Roger Corby is the one who invents them. And Nurse Chapel says that she was married to him in the past, and we know that he's coming. And he is in the trailer. He's the guy that Spock is punching in the trailer. Now I think we know that she marries him. I think the only way that it makes sense for that to be the wedding they're talking about is if there's a time jump between episode 1 and 2, which they may do. They might do that. They might do a little bit of a time jump and say, oh, Nurse Chapel's been off with Roger Corby for the last 6 months and they're getting married. They could do that. So that's my best theory for that, since we know this character will be there and we know that she was married to him, and Spock would have the blues because he wears a blue shirt and he would be sad about it. Despite the fact that he's not supposed to express his emotions. And he's going to punch Roger Corby, we see in the trailer. So that is my theory on that one. What else? Shuttle to Kinfori. Does anyone know what Kinfori is? Is this a new place? I'm wondering if it's a Klingon outpost or something. I'm wondering if that's the Klingon episode. I can't figure out which one of these is the Klingon episode. It features pretty heavily in both trailers, so Unless it's what is Starfleet, and they meet these Klingons to say, what is Starfleet? Like, I don't know. So I don't know which one's the Klingon episode. Could be Shuttle to Kinfori, could be something else. Unless somebody can tell me what Kinfori is. I don't really know what it is. Let's see. They've hinted a couple times at doing a sequel to Those Old Scientists. They won't do it in seasons 3 or 4. They will save that one for the final season. Put a bet on it now. I mean, I hope that's true. I don't know if that'll happen or not. What I always have wanted to see in the final season, and I don't know how anyone else would feel about this, but I think it would be cool, since they like having fucking Kirk on it all the time anyways, just do an episode that is set in the Kirk era with all new actors. They've already cast Uhura and Scotty and Spock, obviously, and Kirk. They would just need to cast McCoy. I mean, some of the other ones they might introduce, before, sometime in the next couple seasons. So just do an episode that, and I'm not talking about timey-wimey stuff necessarily. I'm talking about maybe an episode that is set in that era where they're like solving a mystery from the past and they're showing flashbacks of the regular Strange New Worlds characters, something like that. I think, and maybe not everybody would be into that, but I like that. I would like to see that. I think it would be cool to have like a recreation of the original cast that's actually good. I'm sorry that J.J. Abrams sucked. Anyways, let's see. Little girls, yes, little girls made of. Bravo, Spock would have the blues. Yeah, that's a good theory, huh? I mean, I think it's a good theory. But it would require a time jump. But they could do that. They could just be like, yeah, Nurse Chapel's been gone for 6 months, and now she's back again. They could do that. Doesn't really quite fit up with the canon of the original episode, but a lot of the shit doesn't fit in the canon. This whole relationship of Spock and Chapel to begin with doesn't fit into the canon. So, whatever. They need to cast Janice Rand. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah. I like that. And just reinvent her so she's not just like this helpless woman who gets harassed and raped all the time and who just brings Captain Kirk her coffee. Like, yeah. Give her more of a, I think it would be a tribute to the original actress. Like, give her more strength and make her a stronger woman and give her more personality. More about Pelia, more about Ortegas, obviously, please. We do know we're getting Ortegas' brother. I'm trying to figure out which episode that is. It seems like he's going to be like dating or at least flirting with Uhura. And I have no idea what episode that'll be. That could appear in Wedding Bell Blues. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe her brother comes on because somebody in their family is getting married. I don't fucking know. I don't know what episode that is. So we do know at least we're getting Ortegas' brother. I don't know how much of a backstory we're going to get of her. We need more of her backstory. I still don't even know what her... I mean, honestly, like, I kind of want to know what her sexual preference is. It's like, they haven't... I want her to have a romance. Tyler, hi. No, I have not gotten to your questions yet. I am in the midst of talking about Strange New World Season 3 episode titles. When I am done with that, I will get into your questions, so you might miss it. Yeah, I'm in the middle of talking about episode titles for Strange New World Season 3. So, Hegemony Part 2, Hegemony, however you say that. We know what it is. 4.5 Vulcans, we know what it is. Space Adventure Hour, I have a pretty reasonable idea of what it is. Wedding Bell Blues, I have a theory. Now in the trailer, we see a couple things. We see this like vortex, a wormhole thing. Could be a time vortex. We also see this like gate. To me, I was wondering, it was like the Iconian gates, or like this gate that it's not the Guardian of Forever. So I don't think it necessarily is a time travel thing. We also see a scene with Kirk in charge of the Enterprise, and I have heard speculation that could be an alternate timeline. I took it more of straight up Kirk for some stupid reasons and ends up being in charge of the Enterprise for temporarily. Um, then it's not an alternate timeline. And this, but definitely when Spock says, "Well, wait, your orders," Kirk kind of looks like, he doesn't know what he's doing. Like this is a big moment for him. So if it is an alternate timeline, then it would be, for once, it would be Kirk who is the prime timeline character. And I think if they are going to do an alternate timeline with Kirk again, this would be the third one, that this time it should be Kirk as the prime timeline character who travels to the alternate timeline, because we've already seen two alternate versions of Kirk. We don't need a third one. So if that is indeed what they do, have it centered around Kirk, I would want Kirk to be the prime timeline character for a change. But I don't know necessarily that that's, and some other videos said that, and I don't know necessarily that that's the case. But they have done a timey-wimey episode every year. We do see like this weird vortex looking thing. So the obvious answer to that would be through the lens of time, because more often than not, if the word time is in the title, it is a time travel episode of some sort. So through the lens of time could very well be some kind of timey-wimey alternate timeline sort of thing. And may or may not be the Kirk scene. I still think the Kirk scene could be totally just in the regular prime timeline, and there's some dumb reason why Kirk is in charge of the Enterprise temporarily. It could also be prime Kirk traveling to an alternate timeline, and or maybe traveling into the future, potentially when he's captain. That could be it. He traveled to the future while he's captain of the Enterprise. Maybe I get my Enterprise episode a little earlier than my original cast episode a little earlier than the final season. I don't know. That's speculation. I also thought, wait, what is Starfleet? Could be an alternate timeline because Starfleet gets wiped out and everybody's Starfleet was Starfleet. But it's probably more about what is Starfleet, like a philosophical question, than a Starfleet. What's that? Because we already did what is Starfleet last year with Tomorrow. So I don't think they should do that. So I would put my money on Through the Lens of Time being the time travel episode. Yeah, usually anything that has the word time or tomorrow in it, it's time travel more often than not. So that's my guess. Let me see what you all are saying in the chat. Ortega has a brother. Yep, and he's in the trailer and he's like flirting with Uhura. As long as it isn't Carl. Carl. I don't get it. If Rhys Darby's character is Trelane, which episode could possibly be the Trelane episode? Could the Squire of Gothos get the modern track bump? You're really into this modern track bump thing. I said it like a couple times, and you're like really want to know about the modern track bump. And I like that episode, so I don't think it needs a bump. Like I don't think it does. I think we're really brushing against canon if we're introducing Trelane now, but I'm not opposed to it. And I mean, everyone does seem to think that Rhys Darby looks an awful lot like Trelane, so it does seem that way. But what if he's not Trelane? We don't know. Maybe our Captain Kirk travels into the future into that episode, and that episode ends up being Through the Lens of Time. Maybe. And then we're not brushing against canon in that way. Aside from that, what could be the Trelane episode? I have no idea. Like it could be any of these. New Life and New Civilizations, Terrarium. For all I know, it could be What is Starfleet. Yeah, it could be any of those. I don't know. Unless it is a time travel thing. Then it could be through the lens of time, but I don't know. After the Trelane episode, I'm going to watch the Square Gothos. I think everybody will. That's just, we're making assumptions that it's Trelane. It's not been confirmed. Everybody just like looks at it and like, oh, that's totally Trelane. I don't think we know that 100%, but it probably is. It probably is. I mean, he's snapping his fingers like Q. So it probably is. Let's see. Carl's the guardian of forever and discovery. Oh, yeah, right, Carl. Yeah, okay. Out of context, yeah. Let's see. How did Chekhov know Khan? Chekhov was not in Space Seed. Yes, that is the most famous plot hole in all of Star Trek. I make fun of that all the time. And there's a story behind that. It was a mistake. The writers like forgot. They didn't realize that Chekhov wasn't in that episode. Walter Koenig did know, and he was like, "Hey, I wasn't in that episode," but he didn't say anything because he was afraid that if he said something, then that part would be recast to a different character, and he would lose a lot of screen time. And then I think later on, who did it? Why am I blanking on the name of the guy who did that movie? He said later on, yeah, he's right. We totally would have recast that to somebody else. So he kept his mouth shut so he didn't lose screen time. But he knew. He was like, I wasn't in that episode, but I'm just not going to say anything about this. So it was a mistake. Great two-parter with Carl and Disco. Just the shame the Section 31 movie that followed it was pure unfiltered ass. Agree. 4.5 of Vulcans is going to be the episode with the clip from the sneak peek. Yep, we talked about that before you arrived. That's one of the ones that I said absolutely we know what it is. With hegemony, I don't know how to say that word. Part 2, that one and 4.5 Vulcans are the two that we 100% know for certain what they are. And Space Adventure Hour, I'm at about 90%, that maybe even 95% of what that is. So the Salat who ate its tail was Starfleet, Terrarium, New Life and New Civilizations, and Shuttle to Confori. I'm going to guess Shuttle to Confori is the Klingon episode. I don't know why. That's my guess. It's been a lot in the trailer, so I think it appearing earlier in the season. Confori might be some kind of Klingon outpost or something. And we only see Pike and M'Benga there, so maybe they take a shuttle to get there. I don't know. That's just my guess. So I have a guess on that one. I have a guess on Through the Lens of Time. The Salat who ate its tail. What is Starfleet, Terrarium, and New Life and New Civilizations? I don't know. One of those is with Ortegas's brother. I don't know which one of it is. New Life and New Civilizations could be fucking anything, because whenever they take a quote, I think they're going to break down that opening dialogue and take every piece of it and make an episode out of it before it's all done. So, Strange New Worlds, New Life, and New Civilizations, that could be anything. That could be the time travel episode if they're going to do like they did in season 1. So who knows? That could be just about anything. Terrarium, I was trying to look in the trailer to see if there's anything that looked Terrarium-like to me that could be it, and I'm not seeing it, so I don't know. Nicholas Meyer, yes. Yes. Yeah, just watched Wrath of Khan and noticed that. Yeah, that's like a classic plot hole. I've talked about that many times on my channel. I think when I did my Star Trek 2 review, I think I did a joke where it was just like, Chekhov was it? I never forget a face, even one I've never actually seen before. Yeah, that's a classic plot hole. And yes, Nicholas Meyer. Thank you for that reminder. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. It was a brain fart. Um, the plot hole in Voyager's relativity was kind of worse than Chekhov. The writers got confused and used Lieutenant Carey in the flashback because they thought he died in basics. No, that was some similar guy. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Because I'm probably not, I don't follow Voyager as closely. I still think Chekhov is worse, but that's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. All right. I don't know if I have anything else to say in these episode titles because the salad who ate its tail, and that sounds very Ouroboros like, like, but I don't know. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know. Through the lens of time. That's got to be the time travel episode. All right, Tyler, are you still there? Let me try to get to a couple of your questions. I think there's like no way I'm answering all of them because there's kind of a lot. But let me flip over to my Facebook page. All right. Oops. Okay. All right. In the episode Learning Curve, you compared Tuvok to a high school gym teacher. Did you have a gym teacher like that? Well, I don't remember that episode very well, so I don't remember exactly how. Was that the one when he was like training the Maquis or whatever? Like, I suspect I might have been thinking of not necessarily my high school gym teacher, but I had an 8th grade gym teacher who was kind of like this, jock guy who was like, "Oh, everybody line up!" and like just blowing his whistle and everything. So his name was Mr. Griffiths. Yeah, so I may have been thinking of him, but he was technically my 8th grade. Oh yeah, running laps. That's right. They were running laps and stuff. Yeah, I love how you go back and Tyler and watch some of these old videos that I did, and I don't even remember saying these things because I made these videos so long ago. But yeah, I love that because I didn't remember that. But now that you bring that up, I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember saying that. I do remember saying that. It reminded me of a high school gym teacher. Let's see. January 2023, you posted Sawyer had died. You said he was adored by everyone, even who claims not to be a dog person. Was Mark one of those people? And then you said you asked Mark, and he didn't think he was one of those people because he didn't know Sawyer very well. And yeah, Mark didn't, because Mark lives either in New Zealand or on the East Coast the whole time I had Sawyer, and I was here in Portland for most of that time. So Mark only met Sawyer a couple times. So I wasn't really thinking of Mark in that equation. Around 2016, you did a live stream with Mark and a few other people on his channel where you discussed time travel movies. One of them was the third Harry Potter movie. Had your dislike of J.K. Rowling started yet? If not, when did it start? Well, my dislike of J.K. Rowling started as soon as she started being Queen TERF and started hating trans people. Which she didn't really start doing publicly until I want to say around 2019, I think is when she replied to some article or she posted an editorial or something and then started tweeting about stuff. And so I think that was roughly around 2019. I do remember in 2020, as I was transitioning, J.K. Rowling's anti-trans rants were all the rage at that point, but I think it was still kind of a new thing for her. If I did a video about Harry Potter, the time travel video in 2016, that would predate when she started being Queen TERF. So no, I wouldn't have hated her yet because I wouldn't have had reason to yet. J.K. Rowling sucks more than Tuvix. Hear, hear. Yeah, so I wouldn't have yet. But as I've talked about before, even then, I've always thought Harry Potter was a little overrated. Like, I enjoyed it. I read the books, saw the movies. This is a good time. It's fun. I had a teacher. I've talked about this before. I did a children's lit class when I was going back to school to get my special ed degree. It was like an elective I took was a children's lit class, and my professor was like this big wig. She was on like she was a very children lit snob. She was on all these committees for like the Newbery Medal and that's the young kids one. I forget the young adult one. Anyways, she thought Harry Potter was shite and she was absolute crap and doesn't even deserve to be mentioned with some of the great fantasies that are way better. And she always cited Diana Wynne Jones and the Christopher Chant novels. And I agree, those are better novels. They're more creative, they're more inventive, they have more heart, and they don't just rip off previously established things. Much better. And then you have my favorite fantasy of all time, the Earthsea trilogy by Ursula K. Le Guin, way better than Harry Potter. So I always thought it was a bit overrated, but I enjoyed it, didn't hate it or anything. And I know I've talked about this before. But anyways, I don't want to talk about J.K. Rowling anymore. Will Ferrell #1 asks, do you like Archie Bunker? I never really watched Archie Bunker. When I was a kid and I was watching all of those 70s and 80s sitcoms, I didn't get Archie Bunker. It was over my head because it was all about like politics. Like he was, this racist white guy, and then his son-in-law was, a liberal, and I didn't get any of that stuff when I was a kid. So I didn't watch it because I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. It didn't speak to me. So I never really went back and watched it as an adult either. So never actually watched Archie Bunker. That's my gap in my 70s and 80s sitcom viewing. Mary Tyler Moore also is another one that was kind of a gap because it just wasn't on in reruns where I lived for some weird reason. So I never really got into Mary Tyler Moore either, just because I couldn't. It wasn't on. Chrestomanci Rules. Yes. That's Diana Wynne Jones. I never watched or read Harry Potter and certainly will not now, nor should you. I can't believe they're making a fucking show. I know, I feel like I talked about J.K. Rowling at the last live stream. I don't want to talk about her again. Let's move on. Let's see. Oh, you were asking about the A-Team. I never watched the A-Team, really. I kind of watched it here and there when I was a kid just because Mr. T was in it. And I used to have the Mr. T action figure. But never really got into it. I think, in early 80s, I was like 8 or 9 when it was on. And it was just it wasn't interesting to me at that age. I don't know. I was more interested in Knight Rider. And then Mr. T had a Saturday morning cartoon. I do remember that. Mr. T! He was a gymnastics coach, a girls' gymnastic coach. And Mr. T and the girls' gymnastic team would go around solving mysteries. So silly. I remember the Mr. T gymnastic coach cartoon more than I remember the A-Team. Mr. T invented bling. Yes, it's true. All right. What else you guys want to talk about? I feel like I had something else I wanted to talk about, but I can't think of what it was. Now I'm talking like Captain Kirk. Have you ever heard of Darman Studios? No, please tell me what that is, because I don't know what you're talking about. I'll drink while you Tell me. What else? Well, Will Ferrell number one is giving me the explanation. I'm sure I read somewhere that Star Trek and Knight Rider are supposed to be the same universe. There's no man that just shows up in Knight Rider. I can't remember. What? I've never heard this before. No man shows up in Knight Rider? What? Now this I gotta look into because I have never heard this before, but you have me really intrigued. What? Then I feel like I would know about this. How would I not know about this? That's crazy. I'm not gonna Google it right now, but probably as soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna Google that. If y'all want to Google it while I'm talking, go for it. Will Ferrell number one, I'm anxiously awaiting your explanation of Darman Studios. Yeah, it's something like that. I think it was Nomad. I've had too many beers to check right now. All right, maybe okay. Maybe I'm gonna Google this. All right, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna put maybe Knight Rider and Star Trek. Knight Rider are both popular science fiction franchises, but they are distinct. While both feature futuristic elements, Star Trek is more expansive in its scope. This is the AI telling me this. It's just crossover, Star Trek and Team Knight Rider. All right, let's see. Team Knight Rider. Next Generation crossing over with X-Men. Okay, on the episode The Changeling in the original Star Trek, the Enterprise encounters a space probe named Nomad. Nomad was a space probe from Earth. Blah, 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 blah. We know about that. When the Enterprise encounters now fully... Yeah. Let's get to the good part. Okay, cut to some 20-odd years later. In our time, and many, many years earlier, in Trek Knight Rider's time, Team Knight Rider, a resurrection of the old Knight Rider series, presented viewers not just with one talking car and its driver, but a whole team of 5 talking vehicles and their drivers fighting the good against evil. So was Team Knight Rider, was that a cartoon? I don't even remember this. I vaguely remember there being a Knight Rider cartoon, because it wouldn't have been a live action series, right? Okay, so Nomad apparently appears in Team Knight Rider, which I have never even heard of. So that might have been an animated show. So that's where the Nomad comes in. And if it's an animated Knight Rider show, it's like the animated Star Trek series. It's not canon. So, no, I don't think they take place in the same universe. Then Trek and Webster are the same universe. Was Webster in the same universe as Knight Rider? What are you even talking about? I know that there was an episode of Different Strokes where Arnold meets David Hasselhoff and goes to the Knight Rider set and like, oh, David Hasselhoff. But it's obviously not set in the same universe because it's David Hasselhoff. So I don't know where the Webster thing is coming from. You guys are really going off the deep end now. What are you even talking about, Webster? Okay. Darman Studios is a YouTuber who produces inspiration and motivational videos with actors. Darman videos are vignettes. Usually they are 5 to 20 minutes. When I read that, the first thing that comes to my mind, video, like that's, I'm sorry, that's just comes to my mind. So are they good? because I hear motivational video and it doesn't make me think. Yeah, that's what I think of. Oh, I'm a motivational video. It doesn't make me think of something very high class. But so is it good? Okay. So I'm kind of writing Star Trek Knight Rider for the win. No, you're not. Because it's like this Team Knight Rider, which is some sequel, which I'm just going to guess is probably animated because I've never heard of it. Or maybe it's a comic book. Maybe it was a comic book. I wasn't clear on that. Definitely not canon, so you're not right. They're not set in the same universe. The series finale of Webster has Webster unconscious and on TNG with Worf. Oh, so it's Webster's crossed over to. I thought you were saying Webster crossed over to Knight Rider. Oh, I didn't know that. I don't think I watched the series finale of Webster. I only watched a few episodes of that. To me, it was like a ripoff of Different Strokes, which I was more into when I was a kid. Both shows actually suck, but when I was a kid, I was into Different Strokes. All right. All right. I reached the hour mark. Oh, I can't believe all this time I haven't addressed the elephant in the room. I didn't make it out of my wine cellar this month, as you can see. I don't know. It was too many stairs to go down. There was too much trouble to walk all the way down there. In reality, I was too lazy to get the green screen out. That's why I'm not in the wine cellar. Can't believe it took me an hour into this to say that. Strange New Worlds, season 5, 6 episodes of The Crew on Earth with Kit. I had to watch that. I absolutely would not. Are you kidding me? That would be crap. But thankfully, they're not going to do that. One of the videos, I think it was Trek Culture, that made the comparison to, oh, Stranger Worlds is going to have 6 episodes, just like Game of Thrones had 6 episodes in the final season. And I'm like, why are you doing that to me? Why are you putting Game of Thrones season 8 in my head? They're going to have nothing to do with each other. Don't do that. I never found Different Strokes funny. It's not. I was like 5 when I first watched it. It's funny to if you're a little American kid. But if you're like an adult, it is not at all funny. What else? Oh yeah, I never noticed that wasn't the Chateau Card wine cellar. Alyssa must have finished all the wine. There won't be anything to smash against the new Enterprise now. No, there's still plenty of wine down there. I just didn't feel like going down there. I don't feel like setting up my green screen. Well, we've reached the hour mark, and that's usually when I start thinking about winding down if people don't have anything to talk about. Start winding things down. So you guys got anything else for me? I take another sip of wine, and if we're not having another conversation, then I might just go because I can't think of anything else. Where's the purple lamp? Oh, it's just not on because it's too early. I don't need a lamp on. It's still very light outside. I don't know if you can see through the window there. Still a lot of light coming through. It's like broad daylight. It's 6 o'clock here, but it's still broad daylight. So it would be back there No, there. It would be back there if I had it turned on. It's not always purple. Maybe I always have it purple in these videos, but I can make it different colors. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it's orange, but maybe it is always purple when I do videos. I don't know. I saw Robert Picardo say EMH on Starfleet Academy will be affected by 800 years of constant life. I think that's an interesting take on a familiar character. Oh, that's cool. And I did hear it confirmed that it is the EMH, because I know a lot of people had speculated that it could be the EMH from I don't know, the wine is causing a fog on my brain and causing me to have brain farts and remember obvious things. It was in my top 25, one of my favorite Voyager episodes. I didn't like it at first, but it grew on me. The one where the doctor is, hundreds of years later or wherever, and they look back and see the mirror universe Voyager. Why am I blanking on obvious things? Somebody please put me out of my misery. Living Witness, yes. Why can't I? It's good. Wine is causing a fog over my brain. Living Witness, yeah. So there was speculation that it could be the version of the Doctor from Living Witness, but it has been confirmed that it is not. It is the Doctor, the normal Doctor. I do find that interesting that he'll be affected by 800 years of constant life. That is interesting. I like that they're doing that. I like that they're doing that. That's cool. Brandon, you're a bit late. Manny Chester already answered, but thank you. Gina's good. I don't know. You ask that all the time. I'm not sure what to say other than she's good. I don't know what else to say. She's doing good. What else? Sunset at 5:07 p.m. today. Yeah, you're in winter. You're getting close to your winter solstice. We're getting close to our summer solstice. So, and it stays light longer here than it does in Maryland, where Mark lives too. I always forget that because we're further north. So it stays light a little bit longer. By about solstice, it'll be close to 10 o'clock before it's like dark. And we're getting closer to that. We're only a week away. I made Hesperat 5 years ago. It is a spicy Bajoran dish. Wait, that's a real thing that you can make? What's in it? Is there actually a recipe for it? Like, what's actually in it? I can only type with one finger on a mobile phone. Sorry. Well, Brandon, you are too slow. I'm trying to badly quote the Strange New Worlds trailer at the end where Spock is like, high five, down low. And it's Patton Oswalt as a Vulcan saying, why would you do that? Because you were too slow. I admit, I did chuckle. I did find that funny. I think Vulcan humor in Strange New Worlds rubs me the wrong way a lot of times. I also think it doesn't make a lot of sense for this version of Spock, who predates Leonard Nimoy Spock, to have this much humor. But I did chuckle. I did chuckle at that. You are too slow. Yeah. Anyways, so yes, but what's in the Hesperat? What is it? Summer solstice is lame here. A bunch of aggressive people start dancing by, and on Stonehenge interview say anything to them, they may punch you out. That sounds like a British, so like a very British thing. The orange idiot shares the same birthday as my dad. Well, yeah. I mean, other people are going to have that birthday. I share an astrological sign with him. We're both Geminis. But yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about the orange idiot again. Next topic. I talked about him at the beginning of this video. I don't want to talk about him again. We can talk about pride again. In the thumbnail for this video, I said Alyssa will talk about Pride, but I only mentioned it like for a second. Like, but there's not much really to say. Happy Pride. Yeah. Cream cheese mixture with tortillas, veggies, avocado, onions, and spinach. That sounds delicious, and it's vegetarian. Although I feel like that's the actual thing. That's not like aspirant. It's not pejorative. But yeah, I might make me some of that. Do you have the recipe? I mean, I could just throw that stuff together, make it. Druids and hippies, Mrs. Maddie. Or hippies? Or what did you say? Hippias? I thought you said hippies. All right. Might be getting to be that time. Hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Oh, I said I wasn't going to talk about him anymore. But I have that chant in my head. The last protest I went to a couple months ago, I went with my brother, my sibling who lives in Portland, and his daughter and my niece. And after the protest, she was going around going, hey, ho, ho. She didn't know the whole thing. She wasn't doing the Donald Trump has got to go, but she's going, hey, ho, ho. She's 2. She's 2. And like a couple months later, he sent me a video of her running around going, hey, ho, ho. Like, get stuck in your head. Anyways. I hope by the next wine chat we will have all seen season 3, and it was awesome. We can talk about our relative socks being blown off. Hopefully that is true. So my next one will be July, August, September. And Strange New Worlds, the finale is September 11th. So I'll go ahead and plan to have my September live chat with wine no sooner than September 13th. That'll be the Saturday after that, so that we can indeed talk about it. Tyler, oh, I thought you left. Thought of another question. What's the worst example of movie that ended with in a bad place? Mark says that's the second Hobbit movie. Do you agree? Yeah, I do agree with Mark on that. I think there's another one. Oh, you know what? The another one is the second, and again, I kind of saw this before the whole J.K. Rowling thing. But the second Fantastical Beasts movie also ended in a very bad place. I actually missed the ending because I got up and went to the bathroom. I was at the theater watching it, and I got up and went to the bathroom because I didn't think that we were anywhere near the ending, even though it had been going for a little while. I was like, looking at the movie itself, I was like, well, they're nowhere near wrapping this up. And then I went to the bathroom and came back, and the credits were rolling, and I'm like, what? And then I was with a date actually at the time, and she told me what I missed. Now that movie's kind of out of my head because I only saw it that one time, and then I never saw the third movie. And I thought the first one of those was okay, and the second one was shit, and I never saw the third one. So I don't actually even remember the details of the ending. I do remember that I went to the bathroom thinking that there was plenty of time left because watching what I saw on screen didn't look like they were anywhere close to wrapping it up. And then I came back and the credits were running, and she told me like how it ended. I was like, what? And just like ended there. So that's another one. But I think The Hobbit, the second Hobbit movie, Mark always says that it might as well end in the middle of a sentence. And I do agree. I do agree with him on that. Yeah, she's an activist in the making. She's going to need to be in the world she's going to grow up in, unfortunately. Um, I'll be in Europe then, so we'll not make it, but wish all fun on that date. Well, I didn't say it necessarily will be on that date. I'm just saying at least that date. I could do it the week later. I could do it the 20th. Are you still be in Europe then? And why can't you join from Europe? Manny's in England, and he joins. Norman, on your European tour, swing by us. We'll go to the pub. Yeah, you guys should totally do that. I think you guys should go hang out at the pub. Maddie, if I ever go to England, I will definitely go to the pub with you. I don't know if traveling is in the cards for me in the near future, but if I ever do. So you're returning on the 23rd. Time difference? Well, Maddie, I'm just saying, Maddie watches. Like, I mean, I get it. You'll be on vacation. It's different from living there. Yeah, you have tours and you're doing things. You're on vacation. I get it. I'm just giving you a hard time. We'll have fun in Europe, Norman. I know it's not till September. Well, we'll just have our Stranger Worlds discussion without you then. Hopefully some of the people who didn't come today will come then. Some of my regulars. Meet Gary the cat. Drink beer and meet Gary the cat. All right, you guys. I think it's time to wind things down, wrap things up. Thank you all for joining me this month. It's been fun as usual. Maddie Jester, Norman Buckwald, Brandon Nealhouse, Will Ferrell, number 1, Tyler Cease, Aaron Lee, and I think I got everyone. I believe. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for being here, Aaron Lee. You're not always here, or you're not always active in the chat, so it's good to have you here with us this time. All right, everybody. I will see you again. See you in September. I also will probably do a mid-year review on Strange New Worlds, as well as an end-of-the-year review. And I imagine Mark and I will do a review on one of our channels together. And also, I imagine I will probably be typing up weekly reviews on my Facebook page. So check out all of that. And I will see you in September. Bye, everybody.